This video is about your entire email strategy. We're about to go into a new year, and if you don't have a new plan, you're going to go with your old plan. And if your old plan wasn't that great, you're going to get results that are not that great. So if you have been winging it, if you have no idea what to send and you have sporadic revenue from day to day and you're reactively sending emails based on whatever you think of on the day, in the moment, I'm going to show you what to do so that you can be confident in your comprehensive, strategic, low stress email strategy for 2023. Big promise, but we can get there. Let's get started. Here's who this is for. If you don't really have clarity on your email strategy, you don't have clarity really on what email is even supposed to do outside of bringing you revenue. You know that it's supposed to nurture and build relationships, but you don't really know how to make it do that. Since you're not really sure about that, you don't make consistent revenue. You're only getting a lot of sales when you run a discount, and then that kind of sucks because then your customers only buy when there's discounts, and then you devalue your brand, and we don't like it. Especially if this year you didn't really have a plan and you were just winging it all the time. You wake up in the morning, you're like, what should I send today? And then you think of something and then you send it. It's not strategic. It's just reactive. It's not good for your brand and it's not good for your customers. If you keep winging it like that, you're never going to have the lifetime value that you need to be able to scale your brand. Whether you want that to be super huge or just more of a lifestyle brand, whatever your goals are, if you don't have the customer lifetime value to support it, you're just not going to be able to get there. So instead, I want to show you how to know exactly what to say, exactly what to send, when to send it, so you can make predictable revenue all year, not like a revenue roller coaster based on discounting all the time. You'll be consistent with your sending, and best of all, you're going to build trust with your customers. If you put this all together the way I'm going to show you, 2023 is going to be the year that your lifetime value goes up and your stress goes down. The stress around email and when do I send and what do I send and who am I sending it to, all that stress goes away because we have a plan. If you feel like you're in the dark about the strategy, who you're sending it to, why, first thing I want you to do is you need to get clarity on three things: your performance, your customers, and yourself. So we're going to do some self-discovery in there too. We need to know performance so that we know where we're starting from. We need to know if things were pretty bleak this year or if we're actually pretty close to being on track. We need to know what benchmarks we're hitting, what benchmarks we're not hitting. Is there anything that's a 5-alarm fire we have to fix right away? Or is everything pretty okay? That's just going to help us prioritize where our efforts go first. You need to know more about your customers because that's the person on the end receiving the emails. So you need to know what they like about you, what they want from your product, from your brand. And lastly, you need to know about yourself. So you need to know what your voice is. You need to know what your visual brand is so you can come across consistently over and over again in inboxes. That's going to build trust with your customers, and they're going to love you for it. If you're dealing with that sporadic revenue roller coaster and you're only making money when you run a sale, the next thing that I need you to do to get your 2023 strategy all locked in is work on kind of predictifying what happens for three specific groups of people. The first group of people is the bottom of funnel. So those are people who are shopping, they're actively clicking, adding things to cart. They're in it, they're ready. You need to have those automations set up so that they get guided gently to the cash register and you can check them out, make sure they have a great experience. That's the first thing. If you have steady traffic and sporadic email sales It's because something's not quite working on that bottom of funnel automation level. The next thing to figure out is the top of funnel system that you have going, because right when someone subscribes for the first time, that's actually when they're most likely to just shoot to the bottom of the funnel and make a purchase. Not all customers have to go from top of funnel, get educated, and then think about it, and then think about it some more. They have some questions, some blah, 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 blah. Sometimes people just sign up for the thing and then buy it. And for those people, we want to make sure that we're incentivizing them correctly. So again, if you have traffic coming to your website, a predictable percentage of those people check out and buy right away on the first day that they show up. The third group of people that I really want you to pay attention to are the people who are kind of dead weight on your list. Sorry, not sorry. There are certain people on your list who have bought before and then stopped opening emails. There are people who have never opened an email. There are people who showed a lot of intent and then never ever bought, but they still keep opening your emails over and over again. All of those people, we need to make them do something. We call them lapsed. We want to reactivate them, or we want to purge them, because we don't want the dead weight on our list. If they're never going to buy, see ya. But if they're good prospects and they're likely to buy, let's see what it takes to get them to buy. The very least, you want to reactivate them so that they're engaging again with your brand and get them back into the buying cycle. And that leads right into everything in the middle between top of funnel and bottom of funnel is kind of like a no man's land. So this is where we talk about consistency. This is where you're nurturing people, educating people, entertaining people. It's that no man's land where they're not ready to buy. So you don't want to just give them a discount. You don't want to be too aggressive. But they also already know a lot of stuff about your brand already because they've been around. They went through your welcome flow, didn't quite do it for them. What are they like? What happens in the middle there, right? So we need two things. One email every week to nurture, stay in touch. Hey, how you doing? This is what's on our mind this week. Here are the latest developments. That's a relationship email, and it should happen once a week. The other thing that we need, second thing, is we need a strategy to get people out of that no man's land. We want to get them to the bottom of the funnel. To do that, we need to identify when they're ready to buy, what they're ready to buy. We want to push them towards the cart. Not really push, more like lead to the cart. That's going to be a specific campaign where you just send out it's almost like fishing, like you put some bait on it, send it out. Are you a fisher? I fish. You put some bait on, you send it out, see if they bite. If they bite, that's your cue to start reeling them in. Weird fishing analogy. I don't know how we got here. Anyway, if they bite, start reeling them in. Guide them towards the checkout and turn them into customers. Okay, now, if you throw out the bait, actually, this is a really good fishing analogy. I'm going to keep it. If you throw out the bait, no one bites. That doesn't mean they're not a good fish. It doesn't mean they're not a good customer. It just means it wasn't the right bait. So next week or next month, throw out a different bait. And every time the bait's going to be something like a problem that your product solves or a feature or benefit that your product has. Basically, you're just going to want to test the waters with different kinds of bait. See what people are interested in nibbling on. Once you find out what's going to push them over the edge, then you just have to reel them in. What I'm trying to say is you need to find out what's going to get a subscriber to show some interest. Once they show some interest, that's when you go into sales mode. But when they're not showing that interest, when they're not nibbling on your bait, there's no sense in trying to reel them in. There's nothing on your line. Thanks for sticking through the fishing metaphor. Now we've got top, middle, and bottom of funnel sorted out. We've got super clarity on who's on our list and why they're there and what to send them. and who we are and what we want to show to the world. The last part is so simple. Just get a calendar and start marking it up. You're going to put in the big holidays. Start with Black Friday. That's always in November. I think it's always in November. It's the day after Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving. Start putting in the bigger holidays. They don't move. Make sure you have the 1 email a week in. Make sure you have some bait casting activities, couple a month. Anytime that you think you're going to have new SKUs, new launches, new inventory, anytime something interesting is happening with your brand or you have an influencer campaign or whatever, put those on the calendar and start building your plan around that. And then when you get into work on Monday morning, if you're an office type of person, open the calendar, you're going to look and see exactly what you're supposed to send. All of the thinking will already be done. And you can just get it sent. And that consistency is going to help build that trust and nurture their relationship and turn your customers into super loyal fans. What I really like about this is like up-level pro tip. If you have the 12-month plan, you can hand it over to someone else and say, here, make this happen. And then you're going to get a whole bunch of your time free, and you're going to get a whole bunch of the weight lifted off your shoulder. It's going to feel so good. That's it. That's how to put together your whole strategy for 2023. We're going into Q1 any minute now, probably as soon as you blink. It'll be January. You need to focus on 3 things: clarity, consistency, and conversion. That's all there is to it. If you liked the video, thumbs up, hit subscribe. If you want more content like this, join the Facebook group. I actually have a PDF that outlines all of this in writing in the Facebook group. Go hop in there and we'll send it right over. Till next week. Peace and love. See ya.